We're here at TIPPETT Studio with the legendary filmmaker Phil Tippett. Sir, it's an honor to meet you.
It's a lie.
Now, you have a film entered into our film festival, and frankly, I think it's the best one, called It Lurks. Could you tell us about...
You're very kind.
Oh, it's the honest truth. It is the honest truth. It's the best in show. Can you tell us about It Lurks?
Well, I just like making movies, and every so often I just get really tired. I think it was in a lull when I wasn't really doing a whole lot. And working, with a lot of computer graphics people, they're not too aware of a lot of the filmmaking processes. So I thought, okay, well, here's an opportunity to do something that I've wanted to do for a long time. I used It Lurks as kind of like the metrics for what I was calling a $1 million movie. Like, how cheap could I make something, and what would it look like? And so I kind of laid this thing out and said, okay, if I can shoot it in this amount of time and get it cut together in this amount of time with these resources, that means I think I could shoot a feature-length picture that kind of sort of looked like this for like $1 million. And so we just over the course of 2 days just shot it and then spent a few weeks putting it together with a limited crew, but it was mostly editorial type decisions of like, oh god, oh shoot. And so what's really cool about it, I really love low budget filmmaking because it really forces you to be creative and cover your mistakes, and it's a lot more. You're not like with these giant things, like you're always pushing a 300-pound turd and everything has to be perfect, and there's like 10 executives out there that are, you think it should be blue instead of green. And with this, it's more like in the old Corman days, which was really cool because you just did it. You just did the best stuff that you possibly could with what you had, and that was it.
So who were some of the filmmakers that really influenced or inspired you?
Well, I got into this as a kid, being inspired by the work of animators and effects guys, Willis O'Brien and Ray Harryhausen, were my childhood influences, and since then, it's just like, I'm just a film whore. I'm just like, I'm omnivorous in the kinds of films that I like. I like just about everything.
So what is TIPPETT Studio?
Well, I started this thing, literally in my garage, making a very short 16mm film called Prehistoric Beast in 1984, and that just kind of grew into the current facility that you've taken a tour of here. So we've been around for about 20 plus years, doing visual effects, primarily focusing on these creatures, weird creatures and characters and monsters from the id.
Just tell the folks at home, if you would, some of the movies that you worked on, just some of the really big ones that you...
I kind of lucked out when nobody else did this kind of work. So I got hired by George Lucas. Most of us did television commercials and things like that, but it was fun we're all movie geeks and wanted to work in feature films, but couldn't because no one was doing this kind of stuff. So Lucas came along and Star Wars, and then it was just a huge cascade of stuff that followed.
Yeah, I know that a lot of people, it's hard for them to be really impressed with special effects anymore because you can, like you say, pretty much do just about anything. And I think people tend to discount it as, oh, they just use computers.
I think what's interesting too is that there's an aesthetic that comes along with the computer that's kind of canned in a way. And I think you look at a lot of the visual effects that are put into movies now, and there is I think a pretty significant loss of quality in terms of the picture making and performance skills, since it is easier to do this stuff.
Yeah, we had a tour of your facility here earlier, and it's really amazing. Can you tell us just real quickly, like what sort of things that you do here, like the maquette manufacturing, or the rendering and things?
Yeah, well, our bread and butter stuff work is primarily these creature character kinds of things, which I kind of prefer to doing other kinds of visual effects like matte shots or other environmental spectacle kinds of things, and that because it's performance based, you can be a lot more involved with the filmmaking process, kind of from the cradle to the grave. So you're not just doing the mosaic piece for a shot. You're doing a scene within a sequence of events.
All right. Well, hey, thank you very much, Mr. Tippett. It's wonderful to meet you, and just to look at your wonderful workspace. This is fantastic.
I
really appreciate that.
Good.